Well, I think when you look at them, and there's no question they're playing a lot of young guys, and yet their veterans, Bird and Johnson, are also really stepping up and playing well for them right now. But with Raphael and Ronnie and Hammonds, they're really starting to. You can tell they're getting games under their belt, and they're getting better every time they play. And so there's no question their last. When you look at their last 5, 6 games, you see a team that's getting better every time they walk on the court.
Do they present any challenges that you guys really haven't seen yet this year?
Well, I think every team in this league presents a different challenge because of style of play, what they do defensively, and in this game you create even a different part because these kids know each other, and so. But to say they create a different challenge, I don't think I think every team in this league creates a different challenge, whether it's their inside guys, the perimeter guys, But I think when you look at every Big Ten team, you see most of them have a center that can do a great job, a point guard that knows what he's doing, a shooter like DJ Bird, So you can just go right down the line. Tehran being one of the better wings and driving the ball, and Ronnie Johnson, as a freshman point guard, is doing a great job for him. So I think they create challenges just like every team we've played.
How much does that play into it when kids are so familiar with each other, do you think?
Well, I think probably the kids think about it a little bit, but once the game starts, I'm not sure whether I played with you in AAU doesn't have a lot to do with it. And so I would guess that's something you'd probably have to ask the veteran guys, and Brian Evans and Joe Hillman just talked to our team. They could probably give you a better perspective of that, and playing with guys that you played in the summer and now you're playing with them in this game. I'm sure there's some emotion to it for all the kids.
At Wyoming or other stops you had along the way, did you have rivalries that compared to Indiana Purdue?
Well, I'm not sure there's any rivalries. There's not many in the country that compare to Indiana Purdue. Maybe Kansas State. I don't know. I don't know how many of them you can find where it's truly the biggest game, and so I think every level has something that they probably look at. But when you think of this state, it's about one game.
How has your perspective on it personally changed since you've been here for years now and recruited against them? How has your perspective changed from when you got here to where it is now?
Well, again, I think I walked in understanding it'd probably be a pretty big game, and having had a player that played there in Roy Hairston, and knowing how he felt about it, and so I think again you sense how big it is, and I think our veteran guys will do a great job of making sure our young players understand how big a game it is.
In terms of them just knowing each other, I mean, how much easier is it kind of to give a scouting report? I mean, because Yogi Ferrell's had to play with Mike Johnson before. These guys have had to play with these guys before. They know exactly who you're talking about.
In some ways it is, but in some ways it's not, because when you get so wrapped up in what we're doing and every game is another prep and you're studying other guys, they may think back to it, but just like Yogi's gotten better, Ronnie's gotten better. So Yogi's got to understand what he's got better at. And as I'm sure the Purdue coaches will make sure Ronnie knows what Yogi's gotten better at since his senior year in high school. So I think there is some of it, but yet you also got to make sure they understand where guys have gotten better.
How has Hammonds changed just when you've watched him, I mean, even from kind of AAU to the beginning of his freshman year to now, and how much has he changed maybe what they can do with a presence like that in the middle?
Well, he creates a big guy in the middle for them that, offensive rebound wise, he's just big. He doesn't, he gets his hands up and he gets his hands on balls. And then defensively, he creates a big presence for them in the middle, blocking shots and plugging that lane up. So he's continued to grow and get better as a player from what I've seen to this point.
Talk a little bit about Ronnie and Yogi. They share so much in common. Can you contrast those two, at least in terms of how they are on the court?
again, I think it's hard to compare them because they're such different players, in my opinion. And, you know, I saw them play one time in high school against each other, and other than that, never saw them truly go head-to-head that many times because we can't see guys that many times. So, I think what you know about them both is, it's maybe the most important thing, is they're both very, very highly competitive kids, and that's what it's about.
Got time for one more with Coach?
Because you said they're very different players. How do you see them as vastly different? What do you think is, obviously, like, Ronnie's thinking of the lefty, Yogi's the righty, and all that.
Yeah, there you go.
What strikes you as so different?
Well, I just think, and when I say vastly different, I just think they're different in the sense of, you know, if you evaluated their games, you'd say, well, Ronnie's, you know, in high school, Ronnie was known that he could drive it and he throws up those runners. You know, well, you don't see Yogi shoot a lot of runners. He's more of a pull-up shooter. So when I talk about differences, it's like that. They've both got things they're very good at, but they've developed their games differently.